Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine a country where a severe economic crisis didn't just cause hardship, but actually, well, sparked a unique form of digital ingenuity and a distinct hacker culture.
Yeah, it's a fascinating setup.
That's Argentina's story, really. It's a tale that reveals surprising resilience and adaptability.
It really does.
Today, we're taking a deep dive into the complex and frankly rapidly evolving world of hacking and cybersecurity in Argentina. We've gone through your supplied articles, research, and our own notes to kind of pull out the most important nuggets of knowledge.
Trying to give you that shortcut.
Exactly, a shortcut to being truly well informed on this. Our mission is to understand how a nation's unique socioeconomic history has profoundly shaped its digital landscape. From the very genesis of its hacker culture right up to the sophisticated cyber threats it faces today, and crucially, how it's striving to build a resilient and secure future against all these challenges.
What's truly fascinating here, I think, is observing how a specific cultural context, Argentina's, has profoundly influenced both the offensive and defensive sides of its digital evolution.
Right.
It's much more than just a story about technology. It's a powerful lesson in adaptability, really born from necessity. And it resonates far beyond their borders, offering insights into how any nation might react under similar pressures.
So if we're tracing the origins of this unique digital culture, where do we actually begin? Was there like a single defining moment that really kicked it off? Because
No.
our understanding, based on the materials, suggests the pivotal point, that profound political and economic crisis of December 2001.
Yeah.
How did such a chaotic period inadvertently, foster a hacker culture?
It's truly a testament to human ingenuity under immense pressure, really. The 2001 crisis was an incredibly tumultuous time for Argentina. I mean, just widespread social and economic chaos. We're talking about a period with a rapid succession of presidents, the national currency, the peso, just plummeting in value, and a general breakdown of public order. It was intense.
Right.
And this made everything from basic necessities to even relatively simple technology like computers and software prohibitively expensive for the average person, just out of reach.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But here's the paradox, and what's so compelling about Argentina's story. This severe economic barrier didn't deter a generation of computer enthusiasts. Actually, quite the opposite.
Really?
Yeah, it inadvertently fueled their ingenuity. Young Argentines, without easy access to the latest expensive software or hardware, they just had to become incredibly resourceful.
Necessity is the mother of invention, as they say.
Absolutely. They dedicated themselves to learning how to program from scratch, finding ways to subvert existing programs, essentially making their limited tools work harder, or create game cheats just to play the latest releases that they couldn't afford. And this wasn't just casual tinkering. It was driven by a compelling, almost visceral urge to understand, to manipulate, and ultimately to master the digital realm that was emerging around them.
So it's deep.
Very deep. This necessity cultivated a specialized, almost philosophical, problem-solving mindset, a trait you often hear attributed to Argentines, this ability to make things work with whatever limited resources are available, like fixing anything with anything.
The atarlo con alambre idea, fixing it with wire.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
And this directly translated into identifying and exploiting system vulnerabilities. It's a powerful example of how adversity can, surprisingly, forge unique and highly adaptable skills that have a really lasting impact.
It's a remarkable story of human adaptation, turning a crisis into a skill-building opportunity. So this make-do spirit was literally forging digital pioneers.
Yeah.
But this goes deeper than just technical skill, doesn't it? I mean, the notes mention something called the life hacker ethos in Argentina. How did that deeper cultural trait translate into this digital ingenuity, and what exactly does that mean?
Indeed, that's a crucial point. The life hacker, or MacGyver ethos, it's a deeply ingrained cultural trait in Argentina. Think of it this way. It's like how you hear about Argentines being able to fix an old car with, I don't know, a shoelace and some duct tape.
Right, the classic stereotype, but there's truth to it.
There is. Or finding a creative workaround for a broken appliance, just by sheer ingenuity and resourcefulness. That same pervasive ingenuity, that knack for finding unconventional solutions to everyday problems, often with very limited resources, naturally extended into the digital sphere.
Makes sense.
And for many young people, especially during the profound sadness and uncertainty of the crisis, technology wasn't merely a tool, it became a form of escapism,
Mm.
a refuge from the widespread problems that gripped the country.
A virtual world escape.
Precisely.
Why?
You can imagine the profound psychological appeal of a virtual world when the physical one feels so constrained and uncertain. But there was also a deeper, more profound motivation at play, I think. This period saw the emergence of a strong anti-establishment sentiment. For some of these early hackers, learning to manipulate technology, to find its weaknesses, well, it felt like doing something against the system or against major corporations that they perceived as contributing to the nation's struggles.
Ah, so a form of protest almost.
A subtle yet powerful form of rebellion, yeah. A way to exert a degree of control and agency in a chaotic world. This foundational drive is crucial because it helps explain the later prevalence of hacktivism in Argentina.
Right, the Gora leaks and things like that.
Exactly, where cyber actions are often driven by socio-political expression, even as the broader landscape shifts towards financial gain. It highlights this dual nature within the Argentine hacker community. A blend of technical challenge and a desire for socio-political expression, both stemming from this shared cultural inclination to challenge or, navigate existing systems in unconventional ways.
So this resourceful kind of anti-establishment spirit created a truly unique environment for digital development. We've seen how the crisis fostered these skills, but from that initial spark, how did these early digital explorations evolve beyond just individual tinkering? Did they start forming communities or engaging in more organized activities?
That's right. The initial interest in hacking for many Argentines wasn't purely academic. It was incredibly practical, born directly from those economic constraints we just talked about.
Like the video games example.
Exactly. Take video games.
Right.
With their high cost, especially as they transitioned to CD-ROM format, the common practice became acquiring cracked or pirated versions. Simple as that.
Okay.
But this wasn't just about playing games. It was hands-on engagement with subverting software copy protection. And that process itself fostered a deeper exploration of system vulnerabilities and fundamental programming concepts. It became a self-taught, trial-and-error masterclass in reverse engineering, often just to enjoy entertainment that was otherwise out of reach.
Learning by doing, essentially.
Totally. This period also saw the organic formation of early hacker subcultures. These communities were driven by a genuine love of excellence in programming, as one source put it, and a collective desire to do neat things, to push the boundaries of what was technologically possible.
Right.
Initially, these groups might have been independent and isolated, but with the advent of the internet, they converged, they formed a shared ethos, developed common slang, and built a collective understanding of their history and identity within this emerging digital world.
So a real community formed.
Yeah, this practical necessity, driven by economic constraints, inadvertently pushed individuals to develop profound technical skills out of sheer self-interest. This cultivation of advanced technical capabilities formed a robust foundation for more sophisticated hacking activities later on, regardless of whether those activities would eventually align with ethical or malicious purposes.
That's fascinating how a practical need built such a strong technical base, and that leads us right into the more positive side of this talent, ethical hacking. Argentina has produced some remarkable figures here, right? Like the millionaire bug bounty hacker. Can you tell us a bit about Argentina's contributions to ethical hacking?
Absolutely. Argentina has truly produced remarkable ethical hackers who harness their technical prowess for defensive purposes, contributing significantly to global cybersecurity. A prime example and a real standout is Santiago Lopez.
Ah, yes, the hackerone guy.
That's him. He gained international recognition as the first millionaire bug bounty hacker. This means he earned substantial sums by meticulously identifying and reporting software glitches or vulnerabilities for major international companies through platforms like HackerOne, often before malicious actors could find and exploit them, which is key.
That's incredibly valuable work.
It really is. And this achievement alone powerfully underscores the exceptionally high level of technical talent present in the country. But beyond individual successes, the professional cybersecurity sector in Argentina has also matured significantly. We see numerous consultants and specialized firms. The notes mention Secerno, Software Mind, CyberCops, Next-Gen IT advisors, for example, that specialize in providing ethical hacking services.
So proper businesses doing this now.
Exactly. These aren't just generic IT companies. They offer critical services like penetration testing, where they simulate real-world attacks to identify weaknesses and vulnerability assessments, which are systematic evaluations of security flaws within an organization's systems.
Pen testing, yeah.
This development truly illustrates the evolution of that inherent life hacker ingenuity we discussed earlier. What began as a drive for subversion and creative problem-solving in challenging circumstances has effectively transitioned into legitimate, market-driven services, specifically aimed at enhancing digital security for organizations worldwide.
So they can break it and fix it.
Precisely. This dual capacity, the ability to both identify and exploit vulnerabilities, and then to professionally defend against them, is a distinctive and powerful characteristic of Argentina's cybersecurity landscape. It makes their talent pool particularly valuable, actually.
And then there's the demo scene. Now, for many of us, that might sound like a niche artistic pursuit, maybe something unrelated to cybersecurity. How does the demo scene fit into Argentina's broader cybersecurity story?
Right. It sounds artistic, and it is, but the demo scene plays a surprisingly significant role as an informal talent incubator in Argentina. It centers around creating demos. These are self-contained computer programs designed to produce intricate audiovisual presentations.
Like digital art shows run by code.
Exactly. The goal is to showcase extreme programming skills, alongside visual art and musical talent, often pushing hardware capabilities to their absolute limits, essentially making computers do things they weren't designed to do. In Argentina, a key manifestation of this culture is Flash Party, which has been held in Buenos Aires since 1998. It's recognized as the first demo party in Latin America, which is pretty cool.
Wow, since '98.
Yeah, long history. And its origins are actually closely tied to early software cracking. Remember how we talked about cracked games?
Mm-hmm.
When people would modify software to remove copy protection, they'd often add cracktros, these little introduction screens, to credit their work. This practice evolved into a highly competitive yet cooperative community driven by a relentless pursuit of technical and artistic excellence. It often involved what the sources call extensive hardware trickery to get the most out of limited resources.
Which sounds very familiar.
Exactly. Very reminiscent of that life hacker ethos again. So while it's fundamentally an art form, the demands for high-level programming, deep understanding of system architecture, graphics optimization, music synthesis, it all means it functions as an informal but incredibly effective training ground.
Ah, I see the connection now.
Participants develop advanced technical capabilities that are directly transferable to a wide range of computing challenges, including those within ethical hacking or even, well, malicious cyber activities. The presence of such a vibrant and long-standing demo scene indicates a deep-seated culture of technical exploration and mastery, contributing significantly to the overall pool of cyber talent in Argentina talent that can go either way, basically.
So we've seen this incredible cradle of digital talent emerge from adversity, fostering both ethical and deeply technical skills. But as with any powerful tool, this ingenuity can cut both ways, can't it?
Absolutely.
What happened when that sharp edge turned towards darker, more disruptive ends? Let's trace the shift into Argentina's major hacking incidents, starting with hacktivism. What does hacktivism mean in Argentina specifically, and what were its key expressions?
Right. Hacktivism in Argentina, similar to elsewhere, refers to cyber activities driven by ideological motivations rather than direct financial gain, often aimed at disruption, protest, or exposure of information. And a prominent example that really stands out is the Gora Leaks series.
Gora, slang for police, right? So, cop leaks.
Exactly. It rocked the nation in both 2017 and 2019. The 2017 incident involved the compromise of Twitter accounts belonging to Patricia Bullrich, who was the Minister of Security back then, and also Argentina's airport security police. These accounts were then used to post, well, unflattering and disruptive messages directly targeting authorities.
Okay, disruptive but maybe not catastrophic.
Right. But then Gora Leaks 2.0 in 2019. That was far more substantial and impactful. A hacker operating under the alias Nikolai Lobachevsky, quite the name choice, managed to leak hundreds of gigabytes of sensitive data from the Argentine Federal Police.
Hundreds of gigs, that's huge.
Massive. Initial reports cited 700 gigabytes, though this was later refined to less than half after duplicates were removed. Still, a huge trove. This included confidential documents, transcripts of wiretaps, biometric information, and deeply personal data of police officers and their families.
Wow, family data too. That crosses a line for many.
Definitely. Local press specifically confirmed files on 70 officers, including their phone numbers, addresses, family names. Really sensitive stuff. And to make matters worse, the hacker also exploited the compromised Twitter account of the Argentine Naval Prefecture to disseminate false news, claiming a non-existent British attack.
Okay, that could have caused real panic.
It could have. The motivations, as articulated by Nikolai Lobachevsky, were apparently twofold: to expose security flaws within the system and to fulfill a technical challenge. These actions align directly with broader hacktivist goals of countering what they perceive as state-sponsored censorship and affirming freedom of opinion and expression.
Echoing that anti-system sentiment from 2001.
Exactly. It echoes that foundational sentiment. So while these actions were undeniably illegal, they were framed by the perpetrators as a disruptive, albeit unauthorized, form of public accountability and critique of state institutions. The direct targeting of government and law enforcement entities powerfully underscores a critical stance towards state institutions, showing that these ideological drivers, deeply rooted in Argentina's history, can fuel significant breaches that are distinct from purely financial cybercrime.
That's a powerful demonstration of ideology at play. But while these early actions were rooted in ideology, it seems the digital battlefield has fundamentally changed, hasn't it?
Absolutely.
Are we truly seeing a clear-cut pivot towards purely financially motivated cybercrime now? And if so, what were the landmark events that kind of cemented this shift?
You're absolutely right. The digital battlefield has fundamentally changed.
Yeah.
While hacktivism remains a component, Argentina has definitely become a significant target for sophisticated, financially motivated cybercrime. It marks a clear and alarming progression from those ideologically driven attacks. And probably the most monumental incident that clearly demonstrates this shift is the RENAPER data breach in 2021. RENAPER, that's Argentina's National Registry of Persons, the agency responsible for ID cards and storing all national identity data.
So everyone's core data.
Everyone's core data. In September 2021, they suffered what our sources describe as a monumental data breach. Personally identifiable information, PII, belonging to the entire Argentine population, estimated at 45 million people, was reportedly stolen.
The entire population, that's breathtaking.
It's staggering. This wasn't some minor leak. It exposed fundamental citizen data. The breach came to light dramatically when a newly created Twitter account, @AnnibalLeaks, started publishing ID photos and personal details of 44 high-profile Argentinian celebrities: Lionel Messi, the footballer, even then, President Alberto Fernandez.
As an advertisement.
Explicitly.
Yeah.
It was an advertisement for the stolen data, a chilling showcase of what was available. The leaked information was comprehensive.
Right.
Names, birth dates, home addresses, government photo IDs, Tremite numbers, those unique identifiers often used as passwords by some government apps, citizen numbers, labor identification codes.
Everything you need for identity theft.
Everything. The threat actor even claimed this data provided all the necessary data to create a false identity card. The hacker attributed the intrusion to careless employees and a compromised Ministry of Health VPN account. The government later admitted a Ministry of Health VPN was used to access the system shortly before the leak.
Wow.
And then the hacker openly offered to sell more data on cybercriminal forums, indicating intentions to publish data of 1 million or 2 million people. This incident just starkly underscored a critical national infrastructure vulnerability and a clear, explicit shift towards targeting high-value data for monetization.
So RENAPER wasn't just a breach. It was Argentina's digital wake-up call, really. When personal data becomes a commodity, an entire nation's digital identity can be auctioned off. The core insight here seems to be data with monetary value is always a target.
Precisely. And beyond national identity, ransomware campaigns have become a pervasive and financially devastating threat across various sectors in Argentina.
Yeah, ransomware is everywhere now.
It really is. The Cordoba judiciary was hit by Play ransomware in 2022. This international hacker group, Play, suspected of links to Russia, executed a major attack that severely impacted the judiciary's websites and databases, rendering them inaccessible and disrupting justice itself.
Crippling the justice system.
And they exploited a newly discovered unpatched Windows flaw, what we call a zero-day vulnerability, meaning attackers found and used it before developers even had 0 days to create a fix.
Yes.
Very. Then Telecom Argentina, a major telecommunications provider, has been targeted multiple times. In July 2023, they suffered a ransomware attack that encrypted up to 18,000 workstations, specifically through stolen administrative credentials. The attackers demanded a staggering $7.5 million in Monero.
Monero, the privacy coin. Hard to trace.
Exactly. Favored by criminals for that reason. They even threatened to double the ransom if not paid within 3 days. And there was a similar incident back in 2020, also with a $7.5 million demand, with the notorious REvil ransomware gang initially suspected.
So repeat victims, too.
Yeah. Despite the scale, Telecom Argentina claimed to have contained the attack and asserted that no critical services or customer data were affected, but still.
Still a massive disruption.
Huge. And even Argentina's state-owned military manufacturing company, Fabricaciones Militares, vital for national security, suffered a major ransomware attack attributed to the Monte Group. This was particularly concerning.
Military secrets.
Over 300 gigabytes of sensitive data related to defense projects were compromised. Plans for upgrading the TAM-2IP tank, development of the CH-14 helicopter. This breach obviously raised significant national security concerns, especially as it coincided with the company's privatization efforts.
Wow, the timing.
Yeah, and it wasn't just government or critical infrastructure, even major retailers weren't immune. Cencosud was hit by egregore ransomware in 2021. The Data Protection Authority, the DPA, investigated and ultimately fined Cencosud ARS $290,000, which is only about $353.
$353 for a major ransomware attack.
Yeah, the fine wasn't just for the breach itself, but for failing to implement adequate preventive security measures and, crucially, for failing to inform its customers about potential data leaks. But the amount seems small, relatively.
Disproportionately small.
And it's not just ransomware. Various critical public services have faced significant cyber intrusions, too.
Like what?
In January 2025, hackers compromised the payroll system of Argentina's Airport Security Police, PSA, exposing sensitive financial and personal data of its officers and civilian staff.
Payroll systems are always sensitive.
Very. And what was particularly insidious about this was that unauthorized deductions, ranging from 2,000 to 5,000 pesos, around $100 to $245, were made from their salaries under fabricated categories, just taken straight out.
That's bold. Linked to a bank.
Reportedly linked to a vulnerability in Banco Nation systems, the bank that processes the agency's payroll. Then, Mi Argentina and Subi platforms were attacked in December 2023. These are essential e-government platforms, digital IDs, public transport cards for millions.
Affecting everyday life.
Exactly. The attack, attributed to a threat actor using the pseudonym H4x0R1337, led to service disruptions and the exposure of personal information. The Central Bank of Argentina faced an alleged breach in April 2023, with hackers claiming access to its database, compromising customer names and ID numbers, potentially selling the data. Full extent uncertain there, though.
Still worrying for a central bank.
Absolutely. The Ministry of Health of San Juan Province had a breach in May 2021 exposing personal data of 115,000 driving license applicants. The DPA warned them for failing security. More recently, an alleged cyber attack exposed PII of 50,000 members of the Argentine Armed Forces.
Armed Forces data, that's national security again.
Big time. ID numbers, birth dates, service locations, addresses of staff and their families, travel records, reportedly sold in PDF format on illegal forums.
Just packaged up and sold.
Yeah, and in an undated incident, Argentinian Immigration Office data was leaked: names, birth dates, passport numbers, travel destinations of thousands of Swiss, German, Israeli, French travelers after authorities refused a $4 million ransom demand.
That's an extensive list, truly overwhelming. So the clear shift here is from ideological hacktivism, like Gore leaks, which were about exposing flaws, making a statement,
Right, symbolic mostly.
to targeting entities with high financial or strategic value. The explicit mention of data being sold on a cybercriminal forum and these consistent multi-million-dollar ransom demands just confirm that financial motivation is now the primary driver for many attacks.
It seems to be, yeah.
Argentina is no longer just a source of those resourceful life hackers or hacktivists. It has become a significant target for sophisticated, financially motivated cybercrime by both internal and external actors. The widespread impact on national identity, financial stability, defense capabilities, it underscores a critical and rapidly evolving vulnerability.
It really does. The landscape has changed dramatically.
So what does this mean for the groups doing the attacking? How are their methods evolving? I mean, these aren't just lone wolves anymore, right? Are the lines truly blurring between hacktivism and professional cybercrime, or is it a complete shift?
That's a crucial question. And, well, globally, the traditional distinction between ideologically driven hacktivism and financially motivated cybercrime has become increasingly indistinct. It's blurry. We're seeing many hacktivist groups evolving into sophisticated ransomware operations or becoming affiliates, basically renting out their access or skills, driven by the lure of profit. This convergence is clearly observable within Argentina's cyber landscape, too.
Got an example?
A prime example, although not exclusively an Argentine group, is Lapsgas. They emerged in 2021 and significantly impacted Argentina by attacking the e-commerce giant Mercado Libre in 2022.
Right, Mercado Libre is huge in Latin America.
Exactly. This attack resulted in access to user data for 300,000 customers and the compromise of 24,000 code repositories. And Lapsus operational methods are a textbook example of modern, professionalized cybercrime.
What kind of methods?
They employ spear phishing, SIM swapping, extortion, often leveraging stolen credentials and remote access to obtain sensitive data. Their use of messaging platforms like Telegram for public communication and data dumps further illustrates these sophisticated, organized models. Very public, very brazen sometimes.
Yeah, Lapsus was known for that.
This progression, exemplified by groups like Lapsus and the broader shift of activism towards ransomware as a service, or RAS models, demonstrates a clear professionalization of cybercriminal activities.
RAW is like software as a service, but for crime.
Pretty much. It signifies that hacking is no longer solely about sticking it to the man or making a political statement. It is transformed into structured, highly profitable operations. The accessibility of RIAS effectively lowers the entry barriers for individuals with maybe less technical sophistication.
So more people can do serious damage.
Exactly. It means powerful attack capabilities are now much more broadly distributed. Consequently, the threat landscape has become vastly more complex and pervasive. Financial gain is the primary motivation, meaning virtually any organization can become a target if a vulnerability can be exploited for profit. It highlights a critical and urgent need for robust, adaptive, and continuously evolving defenses.
That's a sobering thought. If profit is the main driver, what sophisticated attack vectors are Argentine cybercriminals employing now? Are they just adopting global methods, or are they innovating themselves?
Well, Argentine cybercriminals have certainly demonstrated a growing sophistication in their attack methodologies. They're showing both their adaptability and their integration with global cybercriminal trends.
Okay.
For example, groups like the C14 criminal organization have engaged in highly advanced techniques such as SIM swapping.
Explain SIM swapping again quickly.
Right. It involves hijacking a victim's cellular phone,
Mhm.
either by duplicating their SIM card or, more commonly, by using social engineering tactics, basically tricking the cellular provider to switch phone access to a new device controlled by the attacker.
So they take over your phone number.
Exactly. And this is often executed in conjunction with highly sophisticated phishing schemes designed to deceive individuals into divulging sensitive information that helps facilitate the SIM swap. These dual strategies represent a truly new frontier in cybercrime because they bypass many traditional digital defenses. They rely instead on manipulating the human element or service providers.
Targeting people, not just systems.
Precisely. In fact, phishing attacks, generally speaking, are on a significant upward trajectory in Latin America. Our sources indicate their growth rate is reportedly 20% higher than the global average.
20% higher, wow.
Yeah, leading to substantial financial losses for banking clients across the region. This prevalence speaks to the high level of effectiveness of these social engineering tactics when applied regionally. Furthermore, the emergence of supply chain attacks is a rapidly growing concern.
Attacking suppliers to get to the main target.
Exactly. As industrial sites increasingly integrate their operational technology or OT assets, things like control systems for factories or energy grids, through 5G networks, they become exposed to internet-scale threats. This significantly broadens the attack surface to critical industrial sectors that were once thought to be, air-gapped or physically isolated from external networks.
So connecting things makes them vulnerable.
It does. What's particularly interesting, though, is that Argentine cybercriminals are not just passively receiving and adopting foreign attack methods. Our sources suggest they are actively innovating in the malicious tool development space with homegrown technology.
Homegrown malware.
Potentially, yes. Developing their own unique tools and methods, tailored perhaps to local conditions, or maybe leveraging that unique life hacker ingenuity for darker purposes. And the global reach of groups like Play Ransomware, which we discussed, combined with historical cases like Julio Cesar Ardita's extradition to the U.S. for computer crimes way back in 1998, it clearly underscores that Argentine cybercrime isn't purely a domestic issue. It operates within a broader, interconnected global context.
So they're part of the international scene.
Definitely. This increasing sophistication of attack vectors necessitates equally advanced and continuously evolving defensive measures, along with robust international cooperation, to effectively counter the pervasive threat.
That's a fascinating, if concerning, development, homegrown innovation and malicious tools. And what about artificial intelligence? We hear so much about it shaping every industry. How is AI impacting cyber attacks in Argentina? Is it truly an arms race, as some describe it?
AI is absolutely reshaping both offensive and defensive strategies in cybersecurity, and it truly is an accelerating cyber arms race globally and in Argentina.
How is it used offensively?
Well, on the offensive side, adversaries are increasingly leveraging generative AI to craft highly convincing phishing campaigns. Think about it.
Mm.
AI can create perfectly worded, grammatically flawless emails or even deepfake voice messages that are incredibly difficult to distinguish from legitimate communications. This makes social engineering far more effective.
Scarily effective.
Exactly. Beyond that, they're using AI to develop sophisticated deepfakes. These are incredibly realistic, manipulated images, audio, or video that can impersonate individuals, including high-ranking officials or trusted contacts. The anticipated commoditization of real-time deepfake technology is poised to fundamentally challenge the very concept of digital trust.
Making it hard to know what's real online.
Incredibly difficult
Yeah.
for individuals and even organizations to discern authenticity in online interactions. It opens up terrifying new avenues for fraud, extortion, and disinformation.
So what's Argentina doing about it?
In response to this rapidly evolving threat, Argentina's security ministry took a proactive step, launching an AI unit back in August 2024. Their stated goal is to use machine learning algorithms to analyze historical crime data, allowing them to predict future crimes and help prevent them.
Predictive policing with AI.
Essentially, yes. This initiative also includes ambitious plans for surveillance drones and AI-driven analysis of footage. However, the deployment of such powerful AI tools for security purposes, especially by the government, immediately raises significant concerns regarding human rights and data protection.
Especially given past breaches.
Exactly. This is particularly sensitive in Argentina given its history of major data breaches, like the 2021 RENAPER incident, where national identity card numbers and extensive personal information were leaked on a massive scale. Trust is fragile.
So it's a double-edged sword.
Completely. This dynamic interaction between AI and attack and defense is creating an accelerating cyber arms race. While AI offers powerful defensive capabilities, things like predictive analytics to identify threats before they fully materialize, automated threat response systems to react with unprecedented speed, it's misused by cybercriminals, particularly in creating hyper-realistic scams and spreading disinformation, poses a significant and rapidly evolving threat.
Can traditional defenses keep up?
Traditional defenses, which often rely on pattern recognition and human verification, may struggle significantly to counter these new forms of AI-driven deception. And furthermore, the ethical considerations surrounding the widespread deployment of AI for security privacy, potential algorithmic bias, misuse of data, will remain a critical area of focus as Argentina navigates this new technological frontier.
It's a dynamic and challenging environment, isn't it? Where every technological advance seems to create new vulnerabilities. So with these escalating threats, what kind of cybersecurity framework has Argentina actually developed to protect itself? What national strategies and policies has Argentina put in place?
Well, Argentina has certainly taken significant steps to establish and evolve its national cybersecurity framework, recognizing the growing digital threats. The foundational document was the first national cybersecurity strategy, approved back in 2019.
Okay, a starting point.
Right. This initial strategy aimed to define essential principles for cyberspace protection and laid the groundwork for a more comprehensive approach. Building upon this, the second national cybersecurity strategy was approved in September 2023.
More recent then, what's different?
This updated strategy is notable because it was developed through an extensive public consultation process. They involved a wide range of stakeholders, public and private sectors, academics, civil society, even international organizations.
That sounds promising.
It does. Its overarching goal is to provide a secure context for individuals and organizations in their use of cyberspace. Its objectives are very clear. Establish coherent and structured actions for prevention, detection, response, and recovery against cyber threats. Crucially, it also integrates cross-cutting themes like human rights, gender perspectives, and addresses risks from emerging tech like IoT, 5G, and cloud computing.
So trying to be comprehensive.
They are. Argentina is also very active in international cooperation efforts. For instance, the Inter-American Development Bank, the IDB, approved a significant $30 million loan in January 2023, specifically to support Argentina's cybersecurity program for critical information infrastructures, or CII.
$30 million is serious investment.
It is. This initiative focuses on several key areas: improving early detection of cyber incidents, reducing response and recovery costs, strengthening institutional and technological capabilities, and addressing the persistent cybersecurity labor shortage, including the gender gap in the workforce.
Tackling the skills gap,
Oh,
too.
good. Yeah. Furthermore, Argentina ratified Decision 108 of the Council of Europe in 2022, a key data protection convention, and actively participates in Interpol working groups to assess cyber threats and enhance cooperation across the Americas.
So plugging into international efforts.
Right. And at a governmental level, several initiatives demonstrate their commitment. In 2022, the Ministry of Security created a new federal cybersecurity force, specifically tasked with training and equipping public entities. There's also that federal government's artificial intelligence unit applied to security we just discussed.
Mm-hmm.
Additionally, the Critical Infrastructures for Information and Cybersecurity, or ICI program in its operational arm, the ICIC CERT, the National Computer Emergency Response Team, work to address cybersecurity demands across public and private sectors, coordinating incident management nationally.
Okay, so there's a structure in place, strategies, international links, dedicated units.
Exactly. The existence of two national strategies, combined with significant international support and dedicated government units, clearly demonstrates a strong governmental recognition of the cyber threat and a proactive approach to policy development and capacity building. However,
There's always a however.
there often is.
Yeah.
The high frequency and severity of recent attacks as Renaper, the military data compromise, the central bank incidents we talked about, suggest that the practical implementation and overall effectiveness of these measures may still lag behind the rapidly evolving threat landscape.
The strategy isn't translating to the street level yet.
It seems there's a significant gap between strategic intent and operational resilience in the real world. It highlights the urgent need for accelerated implementation, robust resource allocation, and continuous adaptation of these strategies to effectively outpace the ever-evolving threats. It's a constant race.
So they have strategies, they're getting international support, but what about the laws? What's the legal framework for cybersecurity and data protection in Argentina? And, how effective are they proving to be in practice?
Argentina's legal framework for cybersecurity is actually quite comprehensive on paper. It encompasses both general data protection and specific cybercrime legislation.
What's the main data law?
The cornerstone of data protection is Law 25,326, the Personal Data Protection Law, or PDPL, which was enacted way back in 2000. It establishes a robust framework for processing personal data, mandating that data controllers adopt all necessary technical and organizational measures to secure personal data against unauthorized access, alteration, loss, or processing.
The standard stuff, but important.
Very. And it's quite significant that this law aligns with international standards and has even been recognized by the European Commission as providing adequate protection. That's a high bar, getting EU adequacy.
Okay, so data protection is covered. What about cybercrime itself?
Complementing this, the cybercrime law, law number 26,388, enacted in 2008, specifically amends the Argentine Criminal Code to address cybercrime. This law covers a range of offenses: illegal access to confidential information that can lead to imprisonment from 15 days to 6 years. Interception of communications without authorization gets 1 month to 2 years. Data damage and computer sabotage carry penalties of 6 months to 3 years. And fraud by manipulating computer systems can result in 1 month to 6 years imprisonment.
So there are real penalties defined.
Yes. And Argentina's accession to the Budapest Convention in 2017 further integrates its legal framework into an international cooperative structure, allowing for easier collaboration on cybercrime investigations across borders.
Sounds good on paper. What are the practical challenges?
Well, despite these legislative efforts, significant challenges persist in the judicial and enforcement aspects. Cybercrime reporting and investigation often face difficulties due to insufficient specialized knowledge and resources within law enforcement agencies. It's a common problem globally, but particularly challenging with rapidly evolving tech.
Need trained people.
Absolutely. Another major hurdle is jurisdictional complexity. While the criminal code is federal, procedural law, how investigations are conducted, how evidence is handled, varies across Argentina's 23 provinces and the city of Buenos Aires.
Federal versus provincial issues.
Exactly. It's like trying to enforce a single set of cybercrime rules across 24 different mini-countries, each with its own policing procedures. This patchwork makes digital forensics and multi-jurisdictional investigations a constant uphill battle.
Complicated.
Very. And there's this notable example of the tension between privacy rights and investigative powers. The Supreme Court's 2009 ruling declared a law forcing telecom providers to preserve user data for 10 years unconstitutional due to privacy violations. While protecting privacy, this ruling also potentially hinders certain investigations that rely on historical data. It's a tricky balance.
The privacy versus security debate.
Always. The Data Protection Authority, the DPA, plays a crucial role in enforcing the PDPL. In cases of data breaches, they can impose sanctions for failing to comply with confidentiality and security duties. The fines, however, well, they could appear modest, especially compared to the scale of some breaches.
How modest?
For serious infringements, fines range from ARS 80,001 to ARS 90,000. That's roughly US $9,507. For very serious infringements, ARS 90,001 to ARS 100,000, about US $107,119.
That's incredibly low for serious data breaches.
It seems that way. To give context, specific cases include an ARS 80,000 fine for unencrypted backups, and that ARS 290,000, about US $353 on Syncosud, following the Egregor ransomware attack, mainly for lack of preventive measures and failure to inform customers. Beyond these administrative fines, the victims can also seek compensation through civil actions.
But the state fines seem like pocket change for big companies. The stark truth emerging here is that Argentina's fines, while present, are often a mere ripple against the tidal wave of financial losses from cybercrime. This gap between penalty and impact creates a dangerous disincentive, surely, for companies to invest adequately in their own defenses.
Exactly. That's a major concern. But despite the challenges, there have been some bright spots in cybercrime prosecution. In 2023, the Specialized Fiscal Unit in Cybercrime Investigations, UI, in Buenos Aires, successfully dismantled a SIM swapping and phishing ring.
Okay, a win.
A significant one. It resulted in arrests and, for the very first time in Argentina, the seizure of crypto assets associated with the criminal activity. This demonstrated a critical capacity for effective law enforcement when specialized resources and techniques, like crypto tracing, are applied.
Shows it can be done.
It can. However, overall, rights holders still report few significant copyright enforcement actions, for example, and there remains a dire need for improved interagency cooperation to enhance the prosecution success rate across the board. So while Argentina possesses a comprehensive legal framework, its effectiveness is significantly constrained by practical enforcement challenges, trained personnel, fragmented authority, the privacy versus investigation balance. This creates a gap cybercriminals exploit, underscoring the urgent need for continuous investment in human capital and interagency coordination.
So the legal framework is there, some successes, but real-world enforcement is tricky. Let's pivot to the economic side of all this. What's the true cost of cybercrime to Argentina? Does it even accurately measured? And how much is actually being invested in defenses to counter it?
The economic toll of cybercrime in Argentina is indeed substantial, though precisely quantifying it remains a significant challenge. The thing is, public and private entities experience attacks regularly, but a large portion of these cases just go unreported or aren't adequately documented.
Underreporting is a huge issue everywhere.
It really is.
Yeah.
This rampant underreporting means the true financial burden is likely far, far greater than any official figures indicate, which in turn hinders accurate risk assessment and appropriate investment prioritization.
How does it hit smaller businesses?
Small and medium enterprises, SMEs, in Argentina are particularly vulnerable. Our sources suggest they're losing between $93,000 and $155,000 per breach. Now compare that to the DPA fines we just discussed.
Yeah, the $100 or $300 fines, it's absurdly disproportionate.
Exactly. The disparity between those low DPA fines and the substantial losses for SMEs, or the sheer scale of breaches like Renaper affecting millions, suggests current penalties may not be a sufficient deterrent or compensation mechanism. This situation could inadvertently disincentivize robust cybersecurity investments, especially if the perceived cost of noncompliance is less than the cost of implementing comprehensive security.
Cheaper to pay the fine, maybe?
Potentially.
Yeah.
Furthermore, a potential data breach at the central bank, as alleged, carries incredibly serious implications, undermining public trust, eroding investor confidence, potentially destabilizing financial markets. The ripple effects could be huge.
It sounds like a significant hidden cost that could affect everything from public trust to international investment. But are we seeing increasing investment in cybersecurity solutions across different sectors? Or is it still a struggle to get companies to prioritize it, given those low fines?
Well, despite the challenges and the hidden costs, Argentina's cybersecurity market is actually experiencing robust growth, which is a positive sign of increasing awareness.
Really? How much growth?
Valued at $1.04 billion in 2025, it's projected to reach $1.76 billion by 2030. That's an impressive 11.12% compound annual growth rate.
Okay, that's significant growth.
It is. It reflects increasing awareness and a proactive, albeit often reactive, response. Argentine companies collectively invested over $60 million in cybersecurity back in 2021, a 10% increase from the previous year, and a significant 85% of them plan to increase investments even further in the subsequent 4 years.
What's driving the spending in specific sectors?
Sector-specific vulnerabilities are notably driving this. The banking, financial services, and insurance, or BFSI, sector held the largest revenue share in 2024 at 28.9%. That's propelled by encryption mandates and, of course, the extremely high value of financial data. Fintech companies alone invested around $68 million in 2023.
Healthcare is usually a big target, too.
It's the fastest growing vertical here, actually, with an 11.5% EGDR. That's due to its rapid digitization patient records. Telemedicine, while simultaneously facing the burden of record ransomware payouts, makes them a very attractive target. The government and defense sectors are also increasing their outlays, particularly for securing connected operational technology, OT, in manufacturing and energy industries.
So investment is growing, but maybe driven by fear or regulation.
It often seems reactive, yes, heavily influenced by past breaches and the need for regulatory compliance, rather than a fully proactive strategic stance. This approach could potentially leave other critical sectors vulnerable until they themselves experience significant incidents.
And what are the broader trends driving this market growth, but also simultaneously creating new and expanding vulnerabilities? We're talking digital transformation, cloud adoption, 5G, IoT. How are these shaping Argentina's cyber landscape?
That's a crucial point, and it highlights a fundamental paradox. Several key technological trends are acting as significant drivers for the growth of Argentina's cybersecurity market. Digital transformation and the rapid adoption of cloud computing are major forces.
Everyone's moving to the cloud.
Right, and this shift means traditional perimeter defenses protecting a defined network boundary are becoming less effective. This pushes organizations towards more dynamic zero-trust frameworks, where nothing is implicitly trusted. And it increases demand for robust identity and access management, IAM, solutions essentially, the digital bouncers ensuring only the right people access the right systems.
And Argentina is big on cloud.
It's recognized as a leading South American nation in cloud adoption. Fantastic for its economy and innovation, but it also rapidly expands its attack surface as data and apps move outside traditional perimeters.
Then there's 5G and IoT.
Right. Well, absolutely crucial for economic development and efficiency, enabling new services and connected devices, they simultaneously and significantly enlarge that attack surface. It's a double-edged sword.
How much worse is 5G?
Notably, 5G networks exhibit triple the cyber attack volume of 4G simply because of increased complexity and connectivity. And a staggering 3/4 of connected IoT devices show inherent vulnerabilities. This necessitates increased security outlays, particularly in industrial sectors, where these devices control critical operations and where a breach could have physical consequences, not just digital.
Right. Factories stopping, grids going down.
Exactly. The escalating threats facing the burgeoning fintech and e-commerce sectors also drive demand, with over 200 fintech companies in Argentina experiencing rapid growth. So the paradox is this. The very technological advancements essential for Argentina's economic development are simultaneously creating new and expanded vulnerabilities.
So progress creates risk.
Constantly. It means Argentina faces a continuous uphill battle. It necessitates a fundamental shift to a security by design approach, integrating security from the ground up, and a commitment to continuous adaptation, rather than viewing cybersecurity as a one-time fix. Otherwise, these growth drivers become overwhelming liabilities.
So on one hand, we see growth and investment. On the other, we have these rapidly expanding attack surfaces. What then are the biggest persistent challenges, the systemic roadblocks hindering Argentina's cybersecurity, despite all these efforts and growing awareness?
Unfortunately, despite the growing investment and strategic initiatives, Argentina's cybersecurity landscape is significantly constrained by several persistent systemic challenges that form, well, an interconnected web.
Okay, what's top of the list?
Firstly, there's a severe cybersecurity workforce shortage. This is a global issue, but it's particularly acute in Argentina. An estimated deficit of approximately 15,000 professionals in 2023.
15,000, that's a huge gap.
It is. A remarkable 67% of Argentine companies report difficulties in filling cybersecurity positions, and this shortage is even more pronounced outside major urban centers like Buenos Aires. This means there simply aren't enough skilled people to design, implement, manage defenses, or respond effectively to incidents. It's a critical human capital bottleneck.
Can't defend without defenders. What else?
Secondly, economic volatility is a constant undermining factor. The frequent peso fluctuations and high inflation significantly curb hardware imports and dilute purchasing power. This economic instability severely limits the effectiveness of cybersecurity budgets, particularly for SMEs, despite their stated willingness to invest.
So even if they want to spend, the money doesn't go as far or they can't get the tech.
Exactly. Even if a company budgets for a top-tier solution, rapid devaluation or import restrictions can make it financially unfeasible or just drastically insufficient.
And that links to the third point.
It ties directly into the third challenge, a high dependence on foreign technology. Approximately 78% of enterprise cybersecurity solutions used in Argentina in 2023 were imported. Local solutions only accounted for 22% of the market.
3/4 imported. Wow.
Yeah. This heavy reliance leads to significantly higher costs due to currency fluctuations and often prohibitive import taxes and customs duties. This further strains already limited budgets and makes it harder for local solutions to compete and grow.
So it's a vicious cycle.
It really is. These challenges form an interconnected web. Economic volatility impacts the ability to import tech, exacerbating costs. Financial strain plus the human capital deficit means willingness to invest doesn't always translate to effective implementation. Without comprehensively addressing these foundational restraints, the growth in cybersecurity spending, while welcome, may not translate into proportional improvements in the national security posture. It's like, as you said, trying to fill a bucket with holes.
That's a powerful picture of a nation at a digital crossroads. It's almost overwhelming to hear the sheer volume and impact of these attacks balanced against the ongoing efforts to defend. So, as we wrap up this deep dive, what does the future hold for cybersecurity in Argentina? What are the key takeaways for us as listeners?
Right. To synthesize, Argentina's unique life hacker culture, initially forged in the crucible of that 2001 crisis, characterized by ingenuity and subversion, has undergone a profound evolution. From early digital explorations driven by necessity and the vibrant demo scene, the landscape has diversified considerably.
From hacktivism to...
Well, while politically motivated hacktivism, like the Gore leaks, once played a significant role, the cyber threat environment has increasingly shifted. It is now dominated by sophisticated, financially driven cybercrime, evidenced by monumental breaches like Renaper, play ransomware, fabricaciones militares. The country is both a target and, in some respects, a source of cybercriminal innovation within Latin America.
With homegrown tools, even.
Exactly. Adopting and developing advanced vectors like SIM swapping, phishing. In response, the government has proactively developed national strategies, enacted laws, sought international cooperation. However, significant challenges persist in enforcement, resources, and that critical cyber skills gap, which collectively impede overall resilience.
So looking ahead, what are the biggest hurdles?
Looking ahead, the future is defined by this critical race between digitalization and defense. We can anticipate several key challenges. The dual-use nature of AI, intensifying the arms race, more convincing, deepfakes, automated attacks. The rapid expansion of 5G IT broadening the attack surface, especially in critical infrastructure. Economic volatility and foreign tech dependence continuing to constrain budgets. And, critically, that severe cyber skills shortage remaining a major bottleneck.
But there must be opportunities, too.
Oh, absolutely. Despite the challenges, significant opportunities exist. Growing awareness, government mandates, crucial international support like the IDB loan, these are projected to drive continued investment, hitting that $1.76 billion market by 2030. The nation's strong local talent pool, rooted in that distinctive hacker culture, presents a unique opportunity for developing homegrown solutions and fostering ethical hacking expertise.
Tapping into that life hacker spirit for defense.
Exactly. Successes like the AI Unit for Security and UFI-its crypto tracing demonstrate a clear capacity for innovation and effective law enforcement when resources are focused. While Argentina did reportedly reduce cyber attack attempts by 80% in 2023, the sheer volume of potential scams, over 2 billion, and continued high-impact breaches indicate the battle is far, far from over. Success really depends on whether defenses can grow faster than the threats.
So what does this all mean for you as you process this deep dive? It's clear Argentina is in a critical race between its rapid digitalization and its defensive capabilities. When you look at this landscape, what's the one thing that keeps you up at night about Argentina's digital future? And perhaps, conversely, what gives you the most hope?
Keeps me up. Probably the sheer scale of the potential impact if critical infrastructure like the financial system or energy grid suffers a truly catastrophic, sustained attack, given the existing vulnerabilities and resource constraints. The hope, it comes from that inherent resilience, that life hacker ingenuity. If they can channel that creativity and adaptability effectively into defense and homegrown innovation, they have a real shot at building something uniquely robust.
And for you listening, perhaps the most provocative thought is this. Can Argentina's distinctive life hacker ingenuity, once born of crisis and now facing these escalating challenges, pivot to not just survive but truly lead in the global cybersecurity landscape? Can it transform its inherent resourcefulness and vulnerabilities into a unique source of resilience and innovation for the future?